una nating pag-uusapan ay ito ngang si Toby Chanko. Nag-trending po ito sa mainstream media at sa social media. Nag-trending po siya doon sa House of Representatives. Nung kinulit niya ng kinulit ang mga buwayang kongresista patungkol po sa dapat i-expose ang mga party list, ang mga congressmen, kung saan napunta ang pera at magkano yung budget isa-isa sa kanila. Bakit naman ayaw nila? 'Di ba? Yun ang argumento diyan eh. Okay? Bakit ayaw nilang i-expose kung magkano po ang budget at saan napunta ang mga proyekto na ito, saan napunta yung budget na ito. Okay? Ngayon, itong si Toby Chanko ay in-interview po ng SMNI at naglabas po siya ng kanyang opinion, reaksyon sa nangyari nga doon sa House of Representatives na sa mainit na debate doon. Okay? Pangalawa nating pag-uusapan ay meron pong panawagan itong si Greco Bilica. Okay? Yan po ang ating pag-uusapan kasi po ako, sang-ayon po ako dito sa sinabi ni Greco Bilica. Okay? Sino ba si Greco Bilica? Siya yung dating Philippine Anti-Corruption Commission. Ayaw ni Greco Bilica ang mga korupsyon. Ngayon, nagpalabas po siya ng statement niya at meron po siyang panawagan. Abangan kung ano ang panawagan nito ni Greco Bilica, bakit ako sang-ayon dyan. Okay? Mamaya. Bago ang lahat guys, paki-like muna, paki-share bago natin simulan itong ating talakayan. No? Importanteng mag-like and share para kakalat ito sa taong bayan. At sa mga hindi pa nakasubscribe, mag-subscribe na po kayo kasi libre lang po ang mag-subscribe, walang bayad yan, okay? Updated pa kayo sa ating mga trending na mga balita at mga breaking news. Okay, so subscribe na po. So ito, punta tayo dito kay Toby Chanko. In-interview na siya dito sa SMNI. Ito po, panoorin po natin kasi maganda po ito kasi in-expose ang mga kabalastugan nitong House of Representatives. Ina-real talk sila dito kay Toby Chanko. Natataranta sila. Ito, panoorin natin ang saloobin ni Toby Chanko sa SMNI.
Sa tingin ko, dismayado yung mga kababayan natin dahil may mga lugar na binabaha. So, hindi lang yung flood control naman ang dapat tignan kung paano paggastos. Dapat talaga yung kabuuan ng pera ng gobyerno ang tignan kung paano ginagastos.
Ang nakikita namin minsan pag nagde-deliberate po ng budget, tinatanong, tama po kayo, tinatanong, paano nyo ginasta yung utilization ninyo? Bakit kayo hihingi ng mas malaki, mabaga nga yung utilization ninyo? Minsan nga, napapagalitan ng mga congressman na nagdi-deliberate ang mga ahensya, ang mga opisyal. Pero sino po ang gumagawa sa budget ng Kamara po, congressman?
Hindi, sa tingin ko, ang gumawa niyan is yung Committee on Accounts, no? Kasi sila po yung in charge sa budget ng House. So dapat, ipresenta nila yon sa budget briefing at ipaliwanag nila. Hindi pa pwedeng exempted sa prosesong yun. Hindi man pa pwedeng porket pinayagan niya na napakatagal na panahon, ituloy pa rin sa kasalukuyang panahon, di ba? Lalong-lalo na nakita niyo naman na sa tingin ko, dismayado yung mga kababayan natin dahil may mga lugar na binabaha. So, hindi lang yung flood control naman ang dapat tignan kung paano paggastos. Dapat talaga yung kabuuan ng pera ng gobyerno ang tignan kung paano ginagastos.
Opo. Gaano po kadelikado, Congressman, kung masasanay na ganito po ang magiging kalakaran? Nabanggit nyo pa din pala kanina na parang mas mataas pa ba or halos magkasing laki lang ng budget ng DOST ang sa House of Representatives?
Ito po, sa akin. Ang budget po ng DOST tignan nyo to ha, ang net ng DOST is 30 billion 9,056,000. Yan ang net niya ha. Ang net ng House of Representatives is 17,202,099,000. Kita niyo yan. Ang GAA ng DOST is 31,743,918. Ibig sabihin, nadagdagan sila ng 1 billion plus lang. Yung House of Representatives, yung 17 billion, naging 27 billion. So, ibig sabihin, nadagdagan kami ng 10 billion.
Opo. Sa last year po yan. Diba? Sa last year po yan or ngayong 2026. Opo.
So, paano nangyari? Di ba? Amazing.
Opo, opo. Yung kasi meron pang nag-point of order kanina. So, out of order po kayo kanina, Congressman, sa
Hindi,
tingin nila.
hindi.
Hindi naman.
Hindi kasi sabi ko sa kanila, sige nga, mag-rule kayo. Eh, ang ginawa nila, instead na mag-rule kung out of order ako, nag-withdraw ng motion si Deputy Speaker Tony Pet Albano. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, wag niyo ipa-withdraw. Ipa-rule natin yung chair kasi paano naman magiging out of order yung tanong ko na tungkol sa paglagay ng pagiging transparent doon sa budget. So instead na mag-rule, sila mismo pinakiusapan nila na i-withdraw na lang ni Deputy Speaker Tony Pet Albano yung kanyang motion na mag-point of order. Kasi sabi ko, pag nag-point of order, dapat mag-decide yung chair kung out of order ako at dapat sabihin niya kung anong rule ang binayolate ko. Siguradong walang masasabing rule na binayolate ko doon. Ano naman rules ang binayolate ko doon?
Opo. Laman po ng social media ang mga puna ng taong bayan po sa mga pangyayari ngayon sa ating bansa, lalo na sa issue ng mga pagbaha at naiisip agad nila yung flood control at naiisip agad nila yung tawag nito, ang corruption po, Congressman. Tapos mababasa nila na ganito yung budget natin for 2027. Alam mo naman, kahit na isang numero lang na mapalit dyan, halimbawa last or this year 6.7 biglang sipa sa 7.2 trillion, hindi mo maiwasan yung agam-agam dyan. Ano po ang assurance sa side po ninyo na mapapanumbalik kasi aminin natin questionable talaga, no, yung alam mo na yung tiwala ng taong bayan dahil nga sa mga pangyayari po ngayon sa atin pong gobyerno, sa mga mambabatas na nangangalaga, nagbabudget po sa pera ng taong bayan. Paano matitiyak lalo na ang a year before ng eleksyon, tinagurian ding election budget po, Congressman. Ano po ang masasabi niyo rito?
Paano po matitiyak yung
Opo.
ano po?
Yung kumpiyansa na tama ang paggastos nito at hindi na mauulit yung na-question sa Korte Suprema na mga budget po ng atin pong bansa sa nakalipas na mga taon po, Congressman.
Okay, yung tiwala, dalawang bagay ang kailangan para maibalik yung tiwala. No?
Wala nang tiwala
Number
yung
one,
taong bayan eh.
kapag hindi po na kasuhan ng plunder si former Speaker Martin Romualdez, hindi talaga babalik
Ayan.
yung tiwala ng tao.
Tama yan, Kong.
Tanggapin natin yan. Number two, dito sa budget process, dapat talaga full transparency, di ba? Kasi yung accountability comes with transparency.
Correct.
Kaya di ba yung nasusunod na tanong ko naman is yung doon sa DPWH budget. Sabi ko, yung DPWH budget, 772 pages yan. Di ba? Kami, mga district congressman kami, di ba? So, ang sabi ko, simplihan nila yung budget. Kaya naman lang gawin yan. Madali sa kanilang gawin. Mahirap sa ordinaryong tao na gawin. Sabi ko, gawin nila magkano yung budget per district at ano-ano yung mga proyekto. Ang sagot nila, yung mga proyekto na handun daw sa NEP. Totoo na handun sa NEP yung proyekto. Kaya lang, minsan, ang isang engineering district, dalawang district congressman. So, papaano mo malalaman kung alin yung sa distrito mo? Number one po yan. Number two, yung NEP, though nakahiwalay yan, naka-line item, makikita nyo yan, tingnan nyo, paano nyo anuhin yan? Unang-una, bawat subtitle, ibang total yan. Kunya, preventive maintenance of primary road, preventive maintenance of secondary road, preventive maintenance of tertiary road, rehabilitation, reconstruction, tapos iba pa yung flood control. Ang dami-daming classification yan. So mahihilo maghahanap niyan. Ang sinasabi ko, simplihan, i-post sa website ng Kongreso, bawat isang congressional district, magkano ang naging NEP at ano-ano yung proyekto na pumasok sa NEP. Number one. Number two, ang sabi ko, yung mga party list, dahil wala naman silang distrito, saan distrito nilagay yung mga proposed projects nila. Wala iniikot-ikot yung sagot. Isang taon ko na yung sinabi nung palang magbotohan ng 2025 budget. Sinabi ko na yan na dapat simplihan. O ngayon, inulit ko ulit, wala pa rin. Ayaw
Gusto
pa rin
nila magulo
na
para makakorap sila.
Hindi naman tayo nagtatalo kung nahandoon sa NEP o wala Ang pinagtatalunan natin, maintindihan pa ng kababayan ko sa nabotas, pag hinanap niya doon sa NEP, yung mga proyekto na pasok sa NEP. Okay? Anong masama doon? Wala namang masama doon sa hinihingi ko pero
Opo. Baka,
hindi ko alam
Baka ang mangyayari na naman dyan na Congressman, kung meron na namang kontrobersya, mapipilitan na naman si gobyerno na ilalagay sa website na naman yung mga listahan ng mga proyekto at magpapatulong na naman sa taong bayan na pakihanap nga ito, pakicheck nga ninyo sa inyong mga lugar kung nandyan na ba ito. Di ba mas maganda yung naging proposal ninyo na kung ano yung approved na mga proyekto, ilathala siya, i-publish siya para diretso na. O, di ba sabi dito na merong gagawin na flood control? Asa na ngayon? Mas madali po yung accountability at mas mararamdaman ng taong bayan yung transparency, Congressman.
Kasi transparency dapat padaliin di ba? Padali. Yan, pinadala ko yung 772 pages yan. Tiga saan ka, Admar? Hanapin mo nga yung proyekto doon sa lugar mo kung hindi ka mahilong paghahanapin yan.
Oo, ang problema pa diyan, hindi malaman ng ordinaryong tao, lalo na mga first time pag titingin ka sa file, Congressman, ano ba ito? Paano ba ito basahin? 'Di ba?
Mahirap talaga ito. Ang gusto ko simple lang. Okay, kunyari lahat ng distrito, ito yung mga district congressman. Ito yung total na budget sa distrito nyo. Ito naman yung mga proyekto sa distrito nyo. O di ba simpleng-simple lang? Kaysa yung papabasa mo kahit hindi naman yung may kinalaman siya, gusto mong pabasa sa kanila at sila maghanap ng proyekto para sa distrito nila. Paano naman yun? Di, parang pinapahirapan lang natin yung hindi sincero yung sinasabi nating transparency. Kasi nahandyan nga, pero mahirapan yung tao na hanapin kung ano yung mga proyekto sa lugar niya. Ang totoong transparency is ipapakita mo sa tao sa isang paraan na madaling intindihin sa kanya at hindi siya magsasayang ng oras para hanapin kung ano yung mga proyekto sa kanilang lugar. Yan po ang totoong transparency.
Opo. Lipat lang po ako dito po sa mga priorities ng pagbabudget po. Meron po ba kayong puna? Meron po ba kayong suhestyon? Kasi ang napansin din natin, sa sinasabi naman ng konstitusyon na mas mataas talaga ang sa edukasyon. Pero almost 1 trillion yung education natin. Nabanggit mo kanina, 700 B ba? Or 600 plus B ang DPWH, ang top 1 at top 2. The rest po, sa agrikultura, na marami din pong mga stakeholders dyan, nasa 200 B. Kayo po ba ay satisfied doon sa proposed budget according sa mga ahensya, lalo na sa mga pangangailangan natin sa ating bansa ngayon, Kong?
Mahirap sagutin yan sa ngayon, Admar. Kaya nga napakahalaga, babalik ako, kaya napakahalaga ng budget briefing. Kasi doon natin masasabi na kung ano yan hindi mo pwedeng tingnan siya holistically, hindi mo pwedeng siya tingnan, dapat tingnan mo per department. Itong department na to, last year nagpresenta sila ng kanilang mga programa at humingi sila ng budget sa House of Representatives. Base doon sa pinisenta nila nung isang taon, yung mga sinabi man lang gagawin nila, ay nagawa ba nila o hindi? Okay, number 1 yan. Number 2, may pangangailangan silang budget ulit ngayong taon na to. Kung hindi niya nagawa yung isang taon, paano tayo makakasigurado na magagawa niya yan for the next year? No? So yun po kaya nga napakahalaga niya. So per department natin titignan kung tama ba yung budget or hindi. No? Yun yung akin. Kaya papakinggan natin yung mga budget briefings at doon natin makikita kung ano ba talaga ang
hindi natatapos
mga performance ng bawat departamento at yung mga plano ng bawat departamento sa darating na taon.
So
tingin ko dismayado yung mga kababayan natin.
Yan yung follow-up na sinabi ni Toby Chanco pagkatapos ng debate niya doon sa House of Representatives. Ano ba ang panawagan ni Greco Belhica? Ito po, no? Yan. Ako sang-ayon ako dito, ha? Pasensya na, ha? Siguro hindi yung iba dyan, hindi tayo parihan ng opinion. Pero ako, sang-ayon ako dito sa sinabi ni Greco Belhica. Ano ba yung sinabi niya? Abolish Congress and the DPWH. These two are the most corrupt institution in the country. Totoo naman eh. Di ba? Imagine niyo kung wala ang House of Representatives tapos wala yung DPWH, no? Ang dami sigurong masave na pera sa Pilipinas. Totoo. Sasabihin ng iba, paano na yan, Don Mar? Kung wala yung Congress na yan at wala ang DPWH, ano ang magiging mangyari sa Pilipinas? Wala ng mga tulay, wala ng flood control, wala ng infrastructures, ganun. Mas mabuti na lang. Kesa meron nga tayong flood control, binabaha pa rin. Di ba? Ganito na lang, yung budget na yan sa Congress at DPWH, kung yan idirekta yan itulong sa mga kababayan natin o sa mga yes, totoo. Mayaman tayong lahat. Di ba? Alam kong hindi pwede na walang Congress, walang DPWH, no? Ang ibig kong sabihin ay abolish yan. Yan ang sabi ni Greco Belhica, i-abolish natin yan, palitan yan ng bago na systematic na to the point na hindi na makakalusot ang korupsyon, hindi na makakalusot ang mga kickbacks at mga insertions. Yung sistema, gumawa tayo ng bagong system of government na hindi talaga makakalusot ang mga corrupt. Oh. Di ba? Sa Pilipinas kasi, ang system of government natin kasi, prone to corruption. Much okay na lang yung kay Duterte dati kasi nahihirapan silang mangungurakot at that time kasi si Tatay Digong very strict at nagbabantay talaga. Kaya nga nandyan si Greco Belica sa PACC, pinababantayan yung mga corrupt di ba? So, ito, DPWH, ito, number 1, ito. Di ba? Bakit tama si Greco Belica na itong DPWH ay dapat ito i-abolish? Palpak lahat ng mga proyekto ninyo. Palpak. Di ba? Yung mga district engineers, may kakuntsaba pa ng mga contractors. Sila rin ang mga yumayaman. Dapat nang i-abolish yan. Pero alam ko, mahirap yan na mangyari na ma-abolish itong DPWH at itong Congress. Syempre, iiyak ang mga buhaya niyan. Iiyak sila niyan. Huwag naman Don Mar, huwag naman yung i-abolish yung Congress at DPWH. Wala na kami pambayad sa kabit namin. Dami niyan Okay, so ako, in my opinion sang-ayon po ako dyan. Pero, palitan ang bagong sistema. Okay. Kayo mag-comment rin kayo dyan kung anong masasabi nyo dyan sa panawagan ni Greco Belica. Okay. Ngayon naman, bakit itong isang Hapon ay gustong mailabas si Tatay Digong sa ICC? Ito po, panoorin po ninyo In-interview po siya ng SMNI. Ito po, panoorin natin.
Fujiki-san, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Sir, I've read your manifestation to the United Nations. I'll read exactly the quote of the statement that you've sent to the UN. You said, you're calling upon the government of the Philippines to immediately release senators currently detained on politically motivated charges, including those associated with the...
Hindi lang si Tatay Digong ang gusto niyang makalabas. Pati itong sina Marcoleta, Jinggoy, at marami pa yung mga political prisoners. Okay? Kasi alam niya na pamumulitika ang nangyari sa Pilipinas.
Blue Ribbon Committee and sees attempts to alter the Senate's political composition through the criminal justice system. What led you make this appeal to the UN?
Actually, the people who are trying to say the truth is always detained or arrested by the current regime. So this is injustice, and also I cannot accept this political manipulation to suppress the people. So that's the reason I wrote this.
And you've mentioned the Philippine Senate. What reports have come to you?
Like Senator Marcolita, and also
you've met the man, right?
Yeah.
Earlier this year.
Yeah, he's a very nice man and also very patriotic. So we talked to each other very well, and he was really a good person. But unfortunately, after a while, he was arrested. So because he was trying to unveil the corruptions in the Blue Ribbon Committee, that's why he was silenced by the current regime. That time, I thought. Yeah.
And that for you is political maneuvering.
It's a political maneuvering persecution. Yes.
You also said to the UN, and I quote, "You're calling the government of the Philippines to immediately end suppression of free expression, including the arrest of silencing citizens who exercise their rights under Article 9. This is important.
Yep.
Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights.
Yep.
Or the protection of the freedom of expression and opinion."
Right.
What prompted you to make this call to the UN?
Actually, I have been hearing that on the people in the Philippines, within the Philippines, not only FWs, but the Philippines, people in the Philippines, they are suppressed by the government and they're threatened by the government. That's in case if you are saying something against the current regime, then they will be charged, arrested, or punished. So this is against the ICCPR and rules, and also, obviously it's against the Philippine Constitution.
So
right?
You think that there's a suppression of the freedom of expression in the Philippines, as you have heard and if you've seen and you've talked to the Filipino community here in Japan? Is that what they're telling you, sir?
Yeah. Basically, the constitution itself is to bind or tie up the power of the government. Okay, so even the Philippine constitution says that the freedom of expression, gatherings, and also speech is guaranteed, right? So this is how I came across with this. Also, I was searching on ICCPR and also other international law. So many it's violating so many laws and rules.
Buti pa
You
itong
also
hapon na
called
ito.
on to the United Nations, and I
Alam niya.
quote, "You're calling upon the ICC to recognize that the case of former President Duterte has become inextricably entangled."
Yeah.
This is important in domestic political conflict, in violation of the Rome Statute, and order his immediate release.
Right.
You've mentioned his case
Ito na,
as a domestic political conflict.
Exactly. Yes.
Why do you say so, sir?
Well, because you have active judicial system in Philippines.
Yeah.
So in case if there is if any victims is existing, then first hand the victim have to claim to the regional court, and this is a judicial system, and also that is working. If it's not working, yes, according to the Rome Statute, ICC can intervene. But as long as the judicial system in Philippines is still working, fully functioning, then this is against their Rome Statute. But, yeah.
You're aware of the political bickering of the Marcos and Duterte family.
Yeah, of
They
course.
were once united under the Uniteam banner,
Right, that is totally.
and then when things went south,
yeah,
these are the results.
right, exactly. So they should not use President Marcos should not use this international judicial system to eliminate the enemy. So it's okay. The difference of the opinion is always healthy, but in case if you use the force to eliminate their voice, it's wrong.
And then for you, it's a human rights violation.
It is definitely this.
And an international human rights violation.
Yeah, exactly.
International human rights.
International human rights. Yes. Yeah.
Because the former president was sent abroad without
It's a
formal
due process.
due process.
Right. Also, actually, this is what I can say. It's kidnapping the person without any chance to speak with a lawyer or attorney, right? Just to kidnap and put in the airplane. So this is against the process, a due process.
You also said, and I quote,
Buti pa ito.
calling upon the International
Alam niya.
Criminal Court to issue a formal apology
Right.
to the Filipino people
Yeah.
and for President Duterte and provide appropriate reparations in a form of meaningful
Right.
and acceptable to the Filipino people. Why does this concern you, sir?
Yeah, because this is totally wrong. Then what the ICC did and made judgment is totally wrong and against the Rome Statute. So once if they make a mistake, then they have to straight up, right? And then many Filipino people are very much concerning, not only the people in the Philippines but in overseas. There also the approval rate of the President Duterte is still very high in the country. Means people are accepted. He was legally elected. He's not the dictator. Okay, so we have
Klaro
to listen
yun,
to the voice of the general public, the Filipino people.
And the Filipinos here in Japan are raising this concern to you personally.
Yes, because the people in the Philippines is silenced, and most of even the Facebook page of the DDS is closed, forced to close. Right, so only voice that we can make is from the outside of the Philippines. No, differently, if I go to Philippines, then I will be arrested, maybe, and maybe missing people, a person. But anyway,
Kasi sa Japan ko ito in-interview,
people,
Japan po ito.
the Filipino people are
Sa
really
Kamihara
concerned about
City, Japan.
the health condition of the former President Duterte, and I also listen to so many voices. The OFWs are scared to go back to home country. This is something really bad. So I really want to, while the President Duterte was in power, people are very proud of their country, Miss Philippines. Okay, but
Diba?
now they say so many corruptions are going on, and so many
Di na kami
political
proud
persecutions
ngayon sa
are going on,
Pilipinas.
so many arrests are going on,
Dahil si BBM ang
so
mga
many intimidation are going on.
presidente.
So these are totally wrong. So I want to be a part of the voice of the Filipino people.
Do you see that a silent martial law is ongoing in the Philippines?
Yeah.
To note,
True.
sir, the current president now is the son of the former dictator, the late
Yes,
Ferdinand Marcos
yes, I'm
Sr.
aware of it. Yes, because of the people's power, he was freed from country.
He was ousted.
Yeah,
And their
right.
family too.
Yeah.
But now they're back in
But
in
the
power.
problem is the former president, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., he was totally supported by the United States. And now the same thing is going on the Marcos administration. Of course, to have a good relationship with the United States is good, but exploiting the situation is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much U.S. embrace is bad.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I quote again,
Yeah.
you've said in your statement, that's why I'm using my laptop to read exactly your words.
Okay.
You said an institution that cannot discipline itself has no business judging others. You're referring this to the ICC.
Yes.
What is the rationale behind this statement?
Yeah, because some of the prosecutor were charged or dismissed from their ICC because of the sexual misconduct to his office workers. And this is the person who filed the arrest warrant
Galit
to
talaga siya sa
Mr.
ICC.
Duterte.
Who sought for his arrest?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So,
So,
may mga judges ng
yeah,
corrupt.
this is not an institution. But so many Filipino people are now asking me to ask the Japanese government to stop funding to the ICC
Yeah.
Okay, or President Trump is now
Rallying.
rallying
To dismantle the ICC.
right. So
Wala talagang
actually,
ICC.
this is what my
Polish na yan.
perspective. This is something wrong because dismantling the ICC. So, in case what will happen if the China do something against the Philippine or killing some people on the South China Sea or so, then where do you go? Are you going to claim or file the complaint? Right? There is no place. So we have to have ICC, but reform this because the current ICC is useless. So we have to reform because Japan is number one contributor for the ICC. So Japanese government have to demand the ICC to reform or change all the people working there to make it straight. That's what I think.
And I've read in your Facebook account that you're raising concerns that the Marcos government, and I quote, could pressure the UN over your statements.
Right.
What is the basis of your concern? Sorry.
Because they did it before. The last time when I submitted the statement, then immediately your government reacted to the United Nations, right? So, and trying to silence me or, eliminate this statement. But it doesn't work because maybe the president is thinking that the way of the domestic, issue will be work for foreigners, even to the foreigner like me, right? But it doesn't work because it's a human rights issue. I'm not going to involve to the internal politics or internal affair with Philippines because only I'm involving because of the human rights violation. Yes, human rights issue.
Do you think that how important is this issue? The voices of the Filipino community, the overseas Filipinos, the OFWs here in Japan, that they're very, very concerned
Right.
about these issues that you're raising in the United Nations. How important is their participation in the process and your steps that you're going to take in the United Nations?
Well, actually, most of the Filipino people in Japan were desperate the situation. Okay, so I thought it have to be internationalized the issue because this is it was a domestic issue. So they are mostly giving up. So I said there must be some way to find out to get the international attention on this issue. And then I decided to submit the statement, and also I had a chance to speak exactly 1 year later that Mr. Duterte was detained, the March 11th, right? So we have to raise more voice, and now people are encouraged by me, and also people are encouraging me too, right? So we are doing a very good harmony, and also people in the Europe are trying very hard, and also Japanese people in Japan are trying very hard, although they are risking actually, right? And some of the people in Europe, when they are going back to the Philippines, they were denied entry. So many things are going on
Because of the issue.
because of the issue, because of their it's a dissent of the current administration.
Nice. Yes.
So this is another human rights violation, although it's not visible from the surface, but still there are so many things going on. Even
Hindi nyo mapapaikot
there is
yan.
some German nationals who is there as spouse of the Filipino woman. He was also denied entering to the Philippines. So this is totally wrong, and it's a big human rights violation we have to correct.
You've announced something in your Facebook that big things are coming this September at the UN.
Yeah. We cannot.
You've mentioned it.
Yeah.
You've mentioned the Filipino people is with you.
Yeah.
What are we expecting this coming September?
Well, actually,
Big things are coming.
Yeah, big things are coming, but I cannot disclose because so many opposition are doing something against us. But anyway, this is unprecedented things that even I'm not experienced, but I discussed with the people in Europe as well as the Japan, the Filipino people, and then I gave them what we can do in Geneva, because it's a kind of core portion of the Europe, right? And we have a Geneva Press Center. We have so many international conference centers and so many things we can do. So we are concentrating to the certain days, maybe a week time, to have strong rallies and protests and so on.
Fujiki-san, what is your ultimate goal in raising this human rights issue in the Philippines, the corruption?
I love Philippines. Okay, first of all,
You love
that's
the
why Filipino people, and also Philippines wants a very rich country. Okay, richer than Japan, but because of the
imagine that
corruption
one.
and many other things, now it's getting a really, the bad country. So I just want to rebuild. If I can do I can help some aspect, right? So, and also people are helping me a lot here. Even today, see, I got a birthday party. This is the first time that I experienced with those people celebrating my birthday. So, I was so much, happy.
Ultimately, we have a nice conversation. What is your final message to the Filipino people?
Okay.
In Japan
Yeah.
and all over the globe. We'll be watching this interview of us in Japan.
Okay.
Your message to them, sir.
Okay. So I'm getting every day numerous messages from the people in Philippines as well as the overseas workers, Filipino. and they say they are willing to put their life on the line to get President Duterte back. So I said, don't take any risk, because there must be some way. Also, God is watching, and God is helping us. So we have to be very strong, and solidarity is very important. Also, we have to focus on the 2028 election, right? So of course, there are so many concerns about lifting of the election, but we still need to maintain, and we need the powers of those people not to be arrested, right? So please keep the hope in your mind, and the solidarity is the most important. So stick together strongly. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Is it okay?
Okay, so yan ang pinaka dito doon is isang dayuhan, isang Hapon ay gusto niyang i-rebuild itong Pilipinas dahil sabi niya ito rang Pilipinas ay mas mayaman pa noon sa Japan. At dahil sa mga corrupt na mga political na mga corrupt mga government officials, ngayon halos tayo na ang pinaka bagsak na bansa sa mundo.